to the Laugh Pig Kitchen, where we're doing quarantine cuisine, making do with stuff that you can find at the grocery store when a lot of stuff is out at the grocery store. As promised before, we're going to talk about dry rice today. This is in the event you can't find your minute rice, you can't find those frozen containers of rice that are already cooked, or the things that are just instant rice that you just add water to, and you have to use plain old-fashioned rice. Oh my God, what am I going to do with that? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do with that. This happens to be one of my bags. This is a 10-pound bag of basmati rice that I get at the Indian market, which is right around the corner from me. Fortunately, they have like 10-pound, 25-pound, 50-pound bags of rice. You can feed your entire neighborhood for a while if you have to, and you don't pay very much money for it. So, what do I do with white rice? Well, once you get it cooked, you can make 5,000 different things out of it. So rice is a really good base to start a whole lot of other meals with. So we're going to do basic white rice first. And I'm just going to show you the quantities that I use for my family. I'm feeding a family of 3, but I usually make enough to have leftovers, or that I can use my leftover cooked rice to make the next meal out of, or a portion of the next meal. I have 2 cups of water. This is a 1 cup measure. I'm getting 1 cup of rice. This rice is white basmati rice, which is a very long grain rice. If you look at the grains of the rice, they're, well, for rice anyway, they're long. For most people's rice needs, long grain rice works really well because it's that kind that gets really fluffy and the grains stay separate. The shorter the grains of rice, the shorter grained rice you get, the stickier it becomes. If any of you happen to have ever seen sushi rice before it was cooked, it's very, very short grains of rice. And the shorter the grains are, it seems like the more they stick together, sticky rice stuff. But for most people's meal usage, a longer grain rice is going to be a little bit fluffier. It cooks up just a little bit drier. So that's what we're doing. We have 2 cups of water, 1 cup of rice. If you don't have anything to measure with, 1 part rice, 2 parts water, however much you're using. 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water. A half cup rice, 1 cup water. 1 part to 2 parts. Easy math, right? Adding water to my saucepan and turning it up to, medium high-ish. I'm going to put a pinch of salt. Yeah, we don't measure a whole lot in this house. So for those of you who have to measure for this 2 cups of water, I'm probably putting about a half a teaspoon of salt. And depending on what you're cooking it with or what the theme of your meal is, you can season your rice water with just about anything. One of my favorites, and one of my friends calls this my magic yellow powder. It's from McKay's. McKays. I think you can Google that. McKay's chicken seasoning. This is actually a vegetarian recipe. There's no chicken in here, but they make it taste a whole lot like chicken. And 1 teaspoon of this in 8 ounces of water makes a chicken stock. So for my 2 cups of water over here, I've got a tablespoon, but that's not quite a tablespoon of my magic yellow powder. I'm going to stir that in. That's kind of what I use when, I just want generally good tasting rice to go with any meal. If you're making a Mexican meal, let's say, and you want rice to go with it, throw you some chili powder, maybe a little granulated garlic, some cumin perhaps, and if you like a little bit more heat, put a little cayenne pepper in there along with a little salt. A lot of rice recipes, cooking dry rice from scratch, will tell you to put a tablespoon or 2 of either oil or butter in there. And if you want that richer, creamier mouthfeel and all, great. I've gotten so used to cooking rice without oil or butter that nobody in my family minds. So I generally go without. We're going to let that boil. As soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to stir this in. And then we're going to cover our pan, turn it all the way down to low, and set our timer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes for white rice, and it's done. But Laura, all they have left at the store is brown rice. They don't have white rice. What am I going to do? Well, lucky you, because brown rice has like 4 times the fiber in it of white rice, and I think a little bit more protein, a gram or 2 more protein per serving than white rice has. So lucky you, you've got brown rice. Guess what you change? You change your time. That's it. You use your same ratio of 1 part rice to 2 parts water. Season your water how you want it. Bring it to a boil. Add your brown rice to it. And instead of 20 minutes, you set your timer for 45 or 50 minutes. The rice, the brown basmati rice that I use, I cut it in the middle. I set my timer for 47 minutes, and that gets my rice done as I want it, my brown rice. That's really the only difference. People are really intimidated by raw brown rice. The only change you make is you double, plus a little bit, your time. And then you're going to have wonderful cooked brown rice. So I'm almost boiling. It's bubbling a little bit. I'm going to pour my dry rice in. Give it a stir. I'm going to let it come back to the boil. Cover it. Turn it down to low. Set my timer for 20 minutes, and we're going to have rice. Oh, look. What a miracle. I already have some that's done. Look at the steam. Look at our beautiful pan of rice. And I will give you a hint here. Instead of taking a spoon and trying to stir it and fluff it, and that's going to kind of cause it to just stick together, either get a fork, or I'm going to take this cool little wooden spatula and just kind of cut through the rice like that. And then you can fluff it without stirring it and getting it all stuck together. So you can kind of see the texture of our rice and all. It's beautiful. This is a wonderful base for 5,000 different kinds of meals. You can just use it by itself as a side dish. Do you have something that you want to top your rice with? You have beans. We're going to talk about beans in one episode. Beans are an amazing thing to go with rice. Beans and rice have fed millions and millions of people in developing countries for many, many years. So when times get tight, when money gets tight, or groceries at the grocery store like right now is getting tight, beans and rice you can almost always find because there's so many people that don't know what to do with plain dry rice and plain beans. So we get to learn new things in this crazy pandemic. How about that? So here's our rice. This rice is cooking for 20 minutes. And when we do beans, we'll talk about what all else we can do with our rice and our beans that we make. We're going to talk about making a big batch of rice, a big batch of beans once a week, and all of the different things we can do with it. Couple of things that I like to do with leftover rice. I make a new meal out of rice. If I have half of this pan left over when we're done with this meal, it can be put with some vegetables and maybe a little cheese and some breadcrumbs on top, thrown in the oven as a little vegetable and rice casserole. There's one thing. Saute some vegetables, put some teriyaki sauce and some soy sauce on it, and throw your rice in with that. Stir it up real good in your skillet, and you've got, impromptu fried rice. So lots and lots of other things we can do with rice. We'll probably talk about that when we talk about doing dry beans. But so there you go. There's, it's not that hard. Don't be scared. It's rice. You can do it. Laugh Pig Kitchen out. Godspeed, people. Have a great day.